it's that time of year again. The part where things happen. Anywho's, if you go on Pokemon Platinum today, you can go to your mystery gift section and receive a gift from Wi-Fi. And it is Oak's letter to get Shaymin, Jimmy's fetish. So, after examining the card, you may go into the Pokemart, which I just happened to be in front of. Anywho, you go in here and there's some cool guy with a green hat on. He's like, "You must be Danny. I'll give you this Oak's letter. Here you go. We hope to see you again sometime." And I'm like, yeah, sure, whatever. So if you take your flying Pokemon of choice, I'm using a Fearow for this just because, and go to the Pokemon League, you can go to that one route right there, which is where you'll find Shaymin. Well, at least the event will happen anyway. So you fly up, and it'd probably be a better idea to go to the other side of the Poke League, but, you know, whatever. Anyways, you go to this cave that was originally blocked off before, and you go down here. You go further down here, and all of a sudden you'll run into Bob Marley, and he's like, "I'm Bob Marley, and yeah, let's go through this cave." And I'm like, "Bob, have you been smoking again?" And so then she goes on thanking you just a little bit though, and then she decides to run off into the cave, and we decide to run after her because we're stalkers. So first you go up the stairs, and then you accidentally hit your key item button, which just happens to be the versus recorder, and I'm saving here for some reason. Why not? So, anywho, after saving a lot of data, which is apparently a lot of data, and you'd better not turn off the power. God forbid you accidentally hit your power switch. Anywho, you run off here and avoid some trainers with your clever ninja skills of sitting. And I was checking to see if I needed to put on a repel again, because I wasn't sure. So, you can find an upgrade here. Odd place to find one, anywho, but you can cleverly avoid this trainer by using your elite ninja skills. And now you can go over here and avoid that trainer, which took more elite ninja skills. And then this trainer's hiding behind a tree, but he's not lead enough. Anyway, this is the EV training berries. They're cool. And that just so happened to be a battle with a dragon tamer, and he had an Altaria and a Seadra. So anyways, you run up here, and Marley's like, "I don't like to talk much, that's why I sing. Anyways, I don't know what accent I'm doing, I'm just going to go with it though. I have a strange feeling that this tablet's not cool." Anyways, Professor Oak tells you about this stuff, about this rock being in the Kanto region, and if you write your thoughts on it, then you can be a cool trainer. So, he decides to ask me who I want to thank. So I decide to thank Marik Ishtar, because Marik Ishtar is the one that got me into Pokemon battling. Actually, I think it would have been funner if I just said Jimmy, because then Shaymin would come out and be like, "Oh my god, what the F?" So anyways, Shaymin comes up, and Shaymin's like, and then it runs away, and then you hear another, and then Oak's like, "What Pokemon was that? This is intriguing." "Thank you. That must be the Pokemon that has conversions of gratitude and feelings or whatever." Anywho, now you can jump on your bike, as everybody has before me, and come down this path. And when you get to the end of the path, you'll encounter many things, mostly flowers. So now you're in Flower Paradise, and then you hit your key item by accident. So now, I'm just doing this for demonstration purposes, so I don't really care what nature it is. Yeah, gonna have to just deal with all this stuff, and, spoilers, accidentally kill it. So, Ventisca comes out and does her stuff. Blah, blah, blah. Of course, it has a Lumberry. And after telling Gus that I'm narrating, now that I'm doing this, Fearow comes out, and I'm thinking, "Ah, crap, I don't have Fury Attack, so I can't just whittle this thing down with a little bit of attack." So I send out some Death Blotter, and then Ventisca comes back out, and I'm thinking, well, Intro Thunderbolt, not very effective Thunderbolt shouldn't kill it. So I hit it down, and then I confuse it again, and it pretty much always snaps out of confusion like this turn afterwards, which is annoying. So now I try to throw an Ultra Ball at it, but it doesn't want to be captured because I'm not Jimmy. So now it decides to synthesize because it wants to be a plant, but plants don't move, so plants are kind of weird. I don't know how it can synthesize, because synthesis takes place in the chloroplasts and whatnot, so whatever, who cares? Nobody cares about that biology crap. I do, but nobody else does. That's why everybody has like a 6th grade understanding of science when they're older. So it tries to leech seed me again, despite the fact that I'm already leech seeded, and then I thunderbolt again and I paralyze it. And you'd think after paralyzing it it'd be easier to catch. Wrong. After I go through puberty again. Anyways, Ultra Ball and it breaks out. Synthesis. And then I go back to Ventisca, because I'm like, okay, maybe it'll miss with Leech Seed. But no, of course it hits, and then it hits me down to 68, and I'm like, ah. So, now I get hit by Leech Seed, and I lose some health, and then I Thunderbolt, and now it's down the red again. But it decides to synthesis just because it wants to make life fun. So now I'm debating on what to do. I use a full restore, and it decides to grow more because it's a plant. And God knows what Jimmy's done to it. So now it hurts itself in confusion and gets some more leech seed recovery, and then I thunderbolt, does like nothing, and it decides to throw more seeds at me, and I'm like, dude, find somewhere else to put your seeds. I'm not a garden. So Shaymin decides to be all Shaymin-y and Shaymin it, Shaymin. So now I decide that, okay, I'm going to take off that flower and shove it up your doot. So you have to doot sideways, and it decides to keep on being annoying. So after some magical video editing skills of myself, which will come up in a second here, I think. I don't know. I go out to Empoleon, and I go for a Surf, thinking it'll probably do less since Empoleon has a lot less special attack than it, but no, it kills it. So yeah, after some magical video editing, I catch the Shaymin. And since I don't care, it's naive nature and whatnot, so now I decide to fly back, and look at the route it's extended. So now you can go back to a Pokemon Center, and now I'm going to go to the PC for some reason, put it in the PC, but then again, I wanted to heal it, but I didn't want to talk to Nurse Joy, so yeah. I decided to put it in box 12, but it doesn't really matter, that's for later. So I save, and then I remember, oh wait, you can change Shaymin to the Skymin form, so I put Shaymin back on my party off screen, and go into my item bag, and I look at the Gracidea. I want to show you that Shaymin's in my party now. Now I go and find my Gracidea flower, and I use it on my Shaymin. And then Shaymin decides to cover itself in flowers, and then another Pokemon appears in its place. So Shaymin's now in Skymin form, so yeah. And if you take this Shaymin, you can get the Gracidea flower. I didn't think that'd be possible, but it's actually true. So, after you get this Shaymin, you can get the Gracidea flower and whatnot, which is in the Floroma town. So anyways, if you trade this Shaymin over to Heart Gold, then, or Soul Silver, you can get some cool stuffs. So, after you load up your game, make sure that you are in Goldenrod City, because this is where you get the Gracidea from Shaymin. So, I have Shaymin in my box, because I'm prepared like that, and I have my Meowth following me. This is an older version of my save file, but, yeah. So, out comes, now you can see my Straight Sneasel, which is epic, and I'm going to box 1, there's my Bulbasaur, and there's my Meowth, which is a Paradox. Anywho's, there's my Shaymin, and Shaymin is all Shaymin-y. Now, you put this Shaymin into your party, and since, unlike Platinum, it's not on the top screen, I have to show you from the bottom screen. So, 1 second as I change screens, and voila. Now you can see the box, and you have to pick up and drag the Pokemon with your stylus, which is interesting to say the least. And I decided that I want to be at the front of my party because that's the only way this works. And now you put Crobat at the back of your party, or whatever you want to use for fly, because I wasn't sure if I was in Goldenrod or not. And now you exit the box, because it's obviously what you want to do. You can't stay in the box all day. I mean, you can if you want to, you can, but, you know. So you leave the box, and the box is just so mad that you leave it, because it's a 40-pound box of rape. So now that you exit the box and whatnot, this is on the bottom screen, mind you. Now, I'm going back to the top screen, so yeah, Shaymin is now following me, and it's so happy to see that I'm not Jimmy, because Jimmy would do things to it. So, it's all happy and whatnot. And I decide, come on, Shaymin, we're going to go to the place in Goldenrod. So now, the Shaymin is following me, and we can take it over to the Gracidea flower shop place. So, Shaymin follows you up to the flower shop. And it's like I'm a good ship flower shop, and I have 2 flowers on my head. So now you go under the bridge where the troll is, and now you go past the gym, and you walk into the flower shop as Shaymin bounces around behind you. Now you enter the flower shop, and this girl immediately notices that you have a Shaymin. So she walks over and she's like, oh my god, there's a Shaymin, I can't believe it, ellipses, ellipses, ellipses. And then she's like, here, you should have this. And she punches your Shaymin and then gives you a Gracidea flower, which is kind of cool, I suppose. And now you can go into your items and select the Gracidea flower and transform Shaymin. So, you go into your bag, and you go to this pocket, and you hit the Gracidea flower. The Gracidea flower then changes Shaymin into sky form. So, after that transition scene and whatnot, I didn't feel like going down there, so yeah, now Shaymin is in the sky form, as you can see. And after I get out and finally decide to actually look at the thing, I can finally tell you that it is indeed happy. So yeah, that's how you get your Gracidea flower on Heart Gold and Soul Silver, and the event lasts until November 8th, so go ahead and get your Shaymin as soon as possible. This applies to the European area as well. It's also North America, New England, and whatnot. Yeah, New England. That's part of America. In America! So yeah, do your Gracidea stuff.